Welcome to Pivot Parenting, where we help parents of teens overcome regret and disappointment to find peace and connection in every situation. I'm Heather Frazier, your parenting expert. Journey with me to discover effective parenting tips, improve family relationships, and build a brighter future for your kids. Buckle up, things are about to get better. Hello, welcome to today's episode, my friend. I'm so happy to be here with you wherever you're at, going about your day, whether you've got earbuds in and braving Costco or folding laundry, fixing dinner in the car, just chilling on the couch. I'm flattered that you have me with you. And today's episode is brought to you by an interesting story from my daughter's high school. So, my kids go to a high school just a few blocks away. And they have like this target time type thing where for I think it's 15 minutes or half an hour every day, they are able to go to any class that they need to get help with their schoolwork. I think it's called Tiger Time or something. I don't know. Interesting story. My daughter came home, and this was at the beginning of the school year, I think. This Tiger Time had always been at the end of the school day, so that if kids didn't have outstanding homework or need help studying from a teacher, they were done. They could just leave and go home. Well, interesting thing happened one day. Apparently, during this Tiger Time, there was a student that did not leave the school grounds. And they went outside somewhere around the building or in the parking lot and got high. And the parents sued the school for allowing this to happen during school time. Even though this kid could have gone home or gone literally anywhere, they chose to use drugs on the campus, and the parents chose to sue the school for their child's behavior. This is a rather extreme example of blaming one entity for perhaps the choices or responsibility that could belong elsewhere. The parent was holding the school accountable instead of their child accountable for doing these drugs. Now, whether or not we agree or disagree with this situation, things like this happen all the time. Oftentimes, parents learn it from their parents, and we pass it on to our kids. And we love holding other people accountable for things that maybe would be better suited to take ownership of ourselves. I think that this, in large part, is distinctly human and perhaps also American, tragically. And I've been talking to a lot of parents lately who maybe their kids didn't inherit it from the parent I'm talking to, maybe the other parent, or maybe they're just acting age appropriate. And it drives the parent that I'm talking to crazy that their kid can't take accountability for their own actions, that they like to shift the blame onto everybody. Well, what was I supposed to tell my friend? They wanted to. Or my teacher didn't explain it right. That's why I didn't turn it in, or why I got a bad grade because I didn't look at the rubric because it was so hard to find. Or whatever. I got fired from my job because I kept being late, but it wasn't my fault. We've all heard these things. We all know these people who habitually do this. I love these people. And we can educate ourselves and secondarily educate those people around us to help improve this unhelpful, immature enabled behavior. It's common and really easy to fall into the line of thinking, like, am I raising someone who will never grow up or take responsibility? Are they going to turn into an entitled adult? Is this going to sabotage relationships? Are they going to get fired from all their jobs because it's never their fault? So, the goal of today's episode is to help you understand why teens blame other people and to help you with tools to foster accountability without arguing, without the fighting, without the hard feelings and resentment that we can sometimes have towards our kids. And of course, as always, if you need help doing this, I offer a peaceful parenting call where you can jump on with me, and for 30 minutes, we will troubleshoot all of it together. Today, I want to break down the episode into 4 different portions. The first one is understanding why teens blame others. The second is to know why this behavior is concerning to parents. The third one is pitfalls to avoid when you're trying to correct this type of behavior. And then the last one is strategies to help foster accountability. So you're definitely going to want to stick around for that last portion because that's where we're going to get into the nitty gritty of what to do. So let's start with understanding. Why do teens blame others? And I have to say, this isn't just a teen thing. This is a human thing. All humans do it to varying degrees, and we all know people who like to do this. But it is more age appropriate for adolescents because their brain is still developing, particularly in areas of responsibility, impulse control, and emotional regulation. This is their amygdala and prefrontal cortex, and they are having a massive growth spurt during adolescence. And so, physiologically, it can make more sense why they point the finger elsewhere. Emotionally, blaming others is often a defensive mechanism so that they don't feel inadequate or ashamed. It's fascinating to me. Yesterday, I was just reading one mom's lament in a Facebook group, and she said that she was trying to help her daughter get ready for school. And this daughter was not following school guidelines for several things. And the mom was just kindly pointing out, hey, you might want to fix this so that, the school doesn't get upset at you or whatever. And the daughter got really angry and started blaming the mom and started making this mom really feel bad for just trying to help her daughter in a kind and loving way, not at all judgy, just like, hey, let's make sure to check these boxes so that you don't have a problem today at school. And his mom felt so bad about herself. And our kids will do this, and people in general. If they feel like they have been caught doing something wrong, or if they are feeling shame or embarrassment, they will flip the script on us so that we are the ones carrying the guilt and shame, and they can feel better. It's a psychological thing that humans do to one another. And so we just have to be on to what is neurologically normal and happening. Then you tie in social pressures and comparison. Our kids are dealing with peer pressure, social media, societal expectations. And so they want to maintain their image. All of a sudden, little kids are only aware of how they feel and think and experience a situation. But as adolescence hits, our kids become aware that other people see them and have thoughts about them and will say things about them. And this becomes a very real thing because at the same time, in adolescence, the psychosocial stage of development is identity. So they're trying to figure out who they are. And all of a sudden, they're aware that a lot of other people have opinions about who they are. And then you've also got the normal developmental shift of significance going from parents. You're no longer their number one. Generally, it is their peers. And so significance has turned from family to peers. So they care more about what their peers think and what their peers advise them to do and suggest how they live than their parents. And again, this is a generalization and it's on a spectrum. So your kid may be extreme on one end or the other or somewhere in the middle. But you have like this perfect storm for them to be really worried about what people think about them, especially their peers. And so they are going to deflect and blame as a way to calibrate how they feel about themselves, protect their image, and present themselves how they want to feel and be perceived. And usually that's perfect. They want to be perceived as perfect. But weird how we all want to be perceived as without flaw or mistake and all knowing. And so they are going to fight tooth and nail to protect the image that they want to portray. And then we tie on family dynamics. How perfectionistic are you or your partner or their siblings that they look up to? We've got family patterns like perfectionism, or if we're overly critical, lack of accountability. Your family dynamic can also influence how this is happening. And I just want to say it is never too late to change that family dynamic or to improve upon it. This is what I do with my clients every day. And even if you've got a 26-year-old that doesn't take accountability, you can still model for them a change in behavior that will benefit them. It is never too late, my friend. So this is why teens blame others. It goes directly back to my age-old adage that you've probably heard here 1,000 times, which all of us are just sensation chasers. We are trying to avoid or create some kind of emotional or physical sensation for ourselves. Your kids are no different. And so when you can understand, the next time your kid tries to blame somebody else, I want you to ask yourself the question, what are they trying to avoid by deflecting accountability in this situation? Or what are they trying to create? And that's going to be a really good conversation starter when you can kind of pick at what's going on for them in the certain situation. It's going to give you a lot of clarity as to how to best support them. Maybe they can't be imperfect in their heads because that means they're awful and not worthy of love. And that is a really valuable conversation to have with them, for example. All right, the second portion is why this behavior often concerns parents. The first and foremost is fear. We fear for their future. Are they going to be unproductive, unkind, unsociable adults? This is a natural worry. All parents, to some degree, worry about their teens' future and success and ability to function as a responsible adult. So good job, you're normal. If left to our own devices, this can take a huge toll on parents. It can lead to arguments, frustration, feelings of failure, and can become a self-fulfilling prophecy. Because, as we know, we have a circumstance, like what our child is doing. Then we have thoughts about the circumstance, like, snap, their future is doomed if they never take responsibility, which makes us feel very scared, which when we're scared, we can go psycho on them, micromanage everything, blow up their phone. Then that doesn't work. So we just completely say, I give up, and we throw up our hands, and then we do nothing. And then things continue, and then we try to micromanage again. It's like this vicious ping pong ball game. But the result that it creates is that we aren't taking accountability for our portion of how we're contributing to the problem. And so we become a self-fulfilling prophecy. Because now we have two people in the house that aren't recognizing how they're contributing to the problem. So fear for parents doesn't serve. We want to listen to those concerns, tell our brains that we got it, that it's going to be okay. And then we want to teach, model, have healthy conversations. And I'll get to the rest of that in a minute. But being concerned about this behavior is a good thing. And then we got to stop. Being concerned about this behavior is a good thing only in as much as it raises awareness of what's going on. Beyond awareness, it is generally unproductive. And I suggest telling your brain that it's okay, that is developmentally normal. They're figuring a lot of things out. They most likely are not going to be a failure of an adult. And you can best help them not be a failure by implementing the tools that I'm going to teach you.
Hi there. I just want to pause and let you know if you are struggling to make sense of your teen's behaviors, emotions are running wild, and you're looking to turn things around to have the family you dreamed of while rocking them to sleep, I would love to talk to you. I want to give you a special, powerful gift. 30 minutes with me, my friend. You'll walk away with more confidence, clarity, and understanding of what the issue is and your next best step in resolving any situation you bring to me. It's completely free. I love families and want to help yours be wildly happy and successful. Book this call by visiting my website, heatherfraser.com. Remember, Fraser is spelled with a Z-I in the middle. And don't worry, the link is also in the show notes. I look forward to meeting and helping you.
Let's talk about pitfalls. What parents get wrong when they see their child not taking accountability. This is our trigger response, our human nature. If you're doing these things, please don't beat yourself up over it. We're going to get to better options for you, I promise. But it's important to recognize what actually backfires and can blow up in our face. Number one, nagging and lecturing. Lecturing for me is one or more words with the express intent of getting your kid to listen without first seeking to understand. Constant reminders, lecturing, nagging can push kids further into that defensive position or fully rebel against you. And when you want your teenager to stop doing something, this is a surefire way to get them to continue doing that thing. Unless, of course, they are a very people-pleasing, submissive type teenager, in which you're doing something even worse. You're enabling them to seek approval and validation from those that would talk to them like that. We don't want to set our kids up or groom them for future abusive relationships. That's not nice. It's not good for them. And so either you're going to have a child that's going to outwardly and very obviously rebel against what you're saying. You're going to have one that's going to say nice to your face and then do whatever they want, or you're going to have one that yields, or you could have one that just gives up trying altogether. Honestly, I would rather have a kid that pushes back, because that shows that they have their own back and want to do things their way, and they're going to stand up for themselves. Nagging and lecturing any of these types of teenagers in their response of you wanting them to take accountability is going to be unproductive. Another pitfall is when parents rescue or fix. Well, I'll call your teacher and I'll make sure that they can extend the test date. Or, well, let's just call your boss. Or that was so rude of them to fire you. How could they? You're right. You are the victim here. We don't want to fix everything for our kid because we're essentially mitigating consequences, which is how we learn. We don't want to take on our teens' responsibilities. That reinforces the bad behavior. Live and learn. Live and learn, my friends. As the years go by, consequences only become more significant for your child not taking responsibility. Let them crash and burn now. It is the safest space for them to do so. Next year will be less, and the year after that will be less. Let them learn. And then the third most common thing that I see parents do is shaming their child or overreacting. I promise you, most things really don't matter. And shaming, punishing, pushing them away, belittling, it backfires, which can lead to more blame and shifting as a coping mechanism because they don't want your shame and your overreaction. So they are going to double down on their efforts that it's not their fault. We really want to be as non dramatic and unconditionally loving as possible when our kids are shifting blame, playing the victim, not taking accountability. Going back to point number one, which is understanding why they're doing it, show some compassion because we all have those same human emotions. And it doesn't mean you have to allow the behavior, but you can understand their perspective because you've probably been there. And to be able to commiserate with them and then show them the better way, which is section 4, the strategies that you can use to foster this accountability. First and foremost, as the parent, as the leader in the home, it is imperative that we create a safe environment for mistakes. So don't do those pitfalls. No judgy McJudger, no overreaction, no lecturing. You want to make your home a judgment-free zone as much as possible where failure is actually seen as effort, because it really is. How is it so much different that a toddler can learn how to feed themselves and make a giant mess that you cleaned up like 5 times a day when they were learning how to eat, throwing food all over, or getting goose eggs because they would hit their forehead on the coffee table corner every single time, or do a backflip off the bed. And we were like, that's so naughty of you. Because we knew it was age appropriate. And that's actually just how they have to learn. Same thing. Your teen failing is just an opportunity for them to learn. It is imperative in the learning process to fail. Normalize it. Talk about your failings, just as matter of fact, because they really are. You want to ask open ended questions. Don't use the word why. That word is seen to trigger most people. "Well, why did you do that? Why did you think that was a good idea?" No, no, no. Reframe it. What were you thinking in the moment that made sense to you? What were you hoping to accomplish by not taking accountability? How is that affecting you now? Those are the types of things we want to do. What part of this do you feel responsible for? What do you think you could have done differently to get a different result? Those types of things. And then focus on solutions, not whose problem it is, not who's to blame. So instead of whose fault is this, who should we point the finger at? Just how can we be collaborative to work through this problem? And of course, the best way to teach this is by modeling accountability in our own lives. You can share examples either verbally through stories or simply set the example for them to observe. Accountability is actually a strength, not a weakness, and we've got to show them this through our example. Then we also can set clear expectations. When we have specific responsibilities, and then we follow through with the consequences if those responsibilities aren't met. So, like, let's say they blame you for a bad grade, or I was at dad's all weekend and he didn't let me do my homework. Instead of blaming dad or mom, we want to have clear expectations and consequences, and then don't put our emotion into it. Oh, you didn't get your homework done. Bummer. I'm not going to excuse you from school. So you're probably not going to do well on that test. Feel free to go talk to your teacher and see what you can work out with them. Sometimes they're very amenable, and let them fix their own problems, follow through with consequences. And I highly suggest that they, as much as possible, be a participant in the conversation around those rules and consequences so that they have some say, because that gives them ownership. And then we want to teach emotional regulation. And I do this with my clients all the time. My favorite way, and I teach this in a lot of my really early episodes, is we recognize the emotion. So I'm feeling really anxious, for example, or I'm feeling some shame. And then we allow ourselves to experience the emotion in our body. We go into our body, we feel it. Anxiety's in my throat, it's tight. We describe the sensation of the emotion. And then we just make space for it to be there and recognize that no emotion lasts forever. that emotions aren't problems, they're just part of the human experience. And we make space for that emotion to be there should it want to stick around. It's not a problem. And then we just want to celebrate growth. This is the last one. Acknowledge when your teen does take accountability, no matter how small, to reinforce positively the behavior we want to see. Those are the main 7 steps I've got for you. I went through them really quickly. If you would like to know how to implement these specifically to your situation, again, grab a peaceful parenting strategy call with me. It's free 30 minutes. It's going to be the best 30 minutes that you could possibly spend for your parenting because it is tailor fit just for you. So, again, the takeaways for today: teens blame others for a very good reason. Find that reason out, address the reason, and then acknowledge that your teen acting this way is challenging and it's a normal part of development that can be vastly improved with your positive example and unconditional love. All right, my friends, this is what I've got for you. I promise you're not raising a menace to society. You are raising a work in progress, just like all of us are. And you are exactly the parent that they need to grow into a responsible, capable, loving, quality adult. You're not going to mess them up. We all just have to figure it out. We all have to undo some of the things that our parents did. That's part of life. This really isn't a problem. You've got this. I hope that you have a great week, and we will talk to you next time.
Heather is the one, an expert in the field. She knows her parenting stuff, including how confusing it can be. You've tried it all, and it's a lost cause. Crying in the closet cause you failed at being a mom. But think again, there's peace around the corner and there's hope in your hands. Your kid just wants your love.